This month on Good News Pod, we are so excited to welcome Chris Brand, who is President and CEO of Friends of Disabled Adults and Children. FODAC is such a great partner for us here at Goodwill Southeast Georgia with a satellite office right here at the Sallywood campus in Savannah. So let's get started.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Chris. To start off, for listeners who might not know, can you tell us a little bit about FODAC's mission and what makes it unique?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today. Yes, I am. I have been with our organization for 30 of our almost 30 of our almost 40 years. We've been
Wow,
around,
awesome.
starting out as a local collection. Reuse of home medical equipment has gone on for years. The people who pass away, they don't need something, might give it to a church, donate it to a Goodwill. Um, but we have really grown that kind of concept from a small operation to a huge operation over the years. And so FODAC's mission is to help with the physical needs. We're a 501c3 that uh, is working to meet the physical needs of people with disabilities, and bridging the gap of either delays in Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance, or not having that available to you at all for a certain product line. So our goal is to help people stay independent in their homes, getting opportunities to get back to school, back to work. And
Mhm.
we have, worked with Goodwills for many years over those years.
That's what a great opportunity to kind of increase that mobility and the independence of people. That's something that we care very deeply about here at Goodwill. So
Yes.
this here in Savannah is one of your first satellite locations. Tell us a little bit about the journey from Atlanta, where you all are kind of home based, to
Yeah.
Savannah. How did that happen?
Yes, that is really a amazing story. It really is. I mean, we have this Savannah is our first other public facing branch, like you mentioned, and that is something we've been looking to grow for a long time, to either parts of the state that we already serve, but are very difficult for us to get to logistics wise, and then also other neighboring states is our longer term goal, um, but we have been delivering to Savannah for many years, for probably 12, 15 years, but it's a very limited delivery. So it was every 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months, we would make a delivery to a partner there in Savannah. The Center for Independent Living is one of our long-term partners, and they would request items for people who are struggling to get them. But we realized how hard, and then also further in that area, in the Darien, so those are
Mhm.
long hauls from Atlanta,
For
to
sure,
to
they
make
are.
to make a one delivery. So, we were looking for a long time with setting up that opportunity in Savannah and helping more regularly. And so,
Mhm.
we wrote a grant. We wrote a federal demonstration kind of federal grant through Warnock's office to allow us to expand to Savannah and get that startup off the ground and then around the state. And we won that grant. So that allowed us to get the wheels in motion. But we didn't have a partner to move into yet in Savannah. And
Mhm.
of course, it's very difficult to get your own space that's affordable down there.
Mhm. It
So
is.
I have been aware of Goodwill partnerships with organizations like us in Virginia, and we love the Goodwill model and what it does for people with disabilities we serve. So we've always seen that there's more of a relationship we could develop. So I cold called Michael out of the blue after we got the grant and said, "Hey, Michael, we are looking for space down there."
Oh, you got the exact
So
right person.
I got the exact right person who understands what we do and how symbiotic it can be in a service to a local community. So it was just shocking to me that, like, oh my gosh, here I have been telling our story about Virginia partnership like ours, that it could be what it could be. And here's Michael and Jason just as much, just embracing that at the same time as we had our
Mhm.
conversations, exploratory conversations. Jason's been very gracious and like, yeah, I can see how that would be great for the community. So we took some of that grant funding. Michael and Jason worked it out, and we have now renovated some space in the headquarters
Mhm.
there on Sally Mood that y'all have, and we have racks of wheelchairs, walkers, canes, crutches. There's some hospital beds there. There's some complex
Mhm.
rehab there. And we have a very small team there, though, not unlike Atlanta, where we have a lot of folks working full time and part time, working on high volumes of equipment we collect around the state from neighboring states. This Savannah location is collecting a lot of equipment from all the stores of the Goodwill, and that are smaller. It can't handle massive donations,
Mhm.
but it has really been incredible to see the results of that and the dedication of all the managers and the Goodwill, your Goodwill, to really get the good equipment in the pipeline to help the local community, because that's all we're doing with it. We are
Mhm.
cleaning it. Things that don't need a lot of repair they can clean and repair down there, they're going right back out the door. And it's just fantastic. I think there's over $500,000 of equipment that we have already
That's
distributed in
amazing.
12
Oh my
months since
gosh.
we opened. that's so that's a combination of things. We deliver some complex rehab
Mhm.
occasionally, still every couple months or every month, from Atlanta to meet local needs. But a lot of that is product that y'all are collecting, and it's part of your story as well in that service.
Well, Chris, we really appreciate that opportunity to partner, and that's just amazing to hear those numbers. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk a little bit more about, we're talking about really being able to provide access for folks
Mhm.
to some
Yes.
of those items. Can you talk about why that's such a critical resource for individuals and
Yes.
families that need those items?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, almost 40 years ago, it was a problem getting access to this equipment. And that's why our founders started what we do,
Mhm.
because, insurance is slow, Medicare, Medicaid is slow. Sometimes, even for certain things, it's 3, 6, 9 months you have to wait for something that you need every day to be
Mhm.
independent.
Yeah.
And if you have an item goes down and needs repair, you can't just sit on the couch for weeks waiting for another one. You need a
Yeah.
backup piece of equipment to be living your life to the fullest and maximizing yourself after an injury, after
Mhm.
taking care of your loved one. So, and then we're part of organizations like Georgia Association of Medical Equipment Suppliers, who tells us that half of the counties in Georgia, you cannot even get access to basic medical equipment because
Oh,
there's not
wow.
even a vendor who will help you get access to those, because there's not enough reimbursement for them. So, we don't have a great system that everyone doesn't really know that,
Mhm.
unless you go through an injury or have to deal with this. You
Right.
really don't know how hard it is, but it is extremely hard. We're delivering to 9 hospitals on a monthly basis here in Atlanta,
Oh.
because they can't get benefits quickly enough to get something for people discharging. And we're doing that down in Savannah. We're working with the 2 hospitals, their systems, to make them know, hey, we can make equipment immediately available to help support your hospital,
Mhm.
help healthy discharges back to the community. And that's going great. The emergency management agency down there has really shocked us with how much they're tapping into that program there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
behavioral health emergency management services has been getting equipment monthly from that Savannah location to help homeless folks get
Oh.
access to housing, because
Wow.
they need a certain level of independence to
Mhm.
qualify to check that box to say, okay, now they're mobile enough, they can be in a level of independent to get into housing. So that has been amazing, how that has been an outcome of that local effort, and it thrills us to see. I'm sure it happens here in Atlanta, but I don't really see it that aggressively
Mhm.
as our partners there, the folks in Savannah, have tapped into that. And so, gosh, I could talk on and on about another just exciting thing that I'm going to jump ahead of the question probably, but the after we opened in August, I think the first at the grand opening, you were so
Mhm.
gracious to host us to have there the Hospice Savannah. We delivered a
Mhm.
safety bed for Hospice Savannah for a 2-year-old, and
Oh,
Wow.
that was just
incredible.
so touching to be able to get that, very hard to find piece of equipment down from Atlanta to there to serve the community. After Hurricane Helene went through the rural communities near Savannah, um, there was a sheriff brewer and his wife found the Savannah location, and they said, you know, he visited the location at your headquarters there. He said, I would like to have everything you have to serve my community. Could I take everything? And of course our training for them is like, say yes to any disaster,
Right.
any request for disaster related things. So they said yes. So he loaded up 240 items from from that location in October, whenever that was, October, November. And this is oxygen concentrators, hospital beds, wheelchairs,
Yeah.
walkers, canes, crutches, all those things that we collect to make available. He loaded them all up and took them back to Manuel County, and then was helping other rural counties that didn't have any access to this equipment, for seniors, for people displaced. And so that's another large effort we do around the country with this equipment. So it was just extremely, extremely proud moment to see that accomplish what we've been hoping it would in Savannah with you guys.
That's incredible. And I think, when you think about after a storm and all of that, you don't always necessarily know what resources are available in those rural
No.
communities. Our territory here spans 29 counties, some much more populated than others, but those services and those individuals still have needs. And I love to hear
Right.
that what you're able to do is kind of helping to expand that. One of the interesting things to us just about your operation here is how you handle the equipment as it comes in from donations. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about the process of receiving and then preparing those donations to go back into the community? So I think it's really
Yes.
neat.
Yes, absolutely. So we have grown from just hand wiping things down to now going to a very high level of sanitizing equipment. We're actually an accredited DME POS provider, which means we could bill Medicare, Medicaid, or government or insurance, but we don't, right? That's our goal, is to get equipment in our pipeline that we can fix and make available to people who having trouble with those resources. So we clean equipment with a hub scrub machine down there in at your location. It's at the Sally Mood. It's about an $18,000 wheelchair washer, pressure washer, sanitizer. It is steaming that equipment, cleaning that equipment, and making sure there's no bloodborne pathogens. There's no life debris, as I use the term for on that equipment. Because you want to know any piece of shower equipment or bathroom equipment or something like that has not just been hand wiped a little, it's been completely saturated with steam, cleaning, sanitizing. And so you can trust that it's going to be the highest quality of equipment that can be repurposed. And so, we're really proud of doing that really, really strict method of cleaning, sanitizing. The other thing we're doing is making sure that people are the correct weight and can use that equipment safely, right? So if you buy something at a second hand that has no safety use information or instructions at all, who knows how people will try to use it, but we go through explaining how to safely use the equipment that's given to them, make sure that what they're requesting is actually what they need. And then making sure the weight capacity is not too much, and that they know how to, get on and off of equipment without falling, so people can actually get hurt with just grabbing something they think they need, not reading any information about it or knowing how to use it safely. And they can actually get hurt, and that's happened out there. But we definitely go to a lot of rigor to make sure they sign off. They've been safely trained. We have safety use sheets on equipment. So we go to a lot of links to make sure that people are taking care of their loved ones, and we're doing no harm with the program.
That's true. I think what's so cool is just the overlay between our two organizations. At the end of the day, you're right, we're serving very similar populations. We want to make sure that everyone in our community has access to the tools or resources that they need to live their best version of themselves and of their life, and look for success in those ways. So as you guys kind of are bringing this organization more so into the community, how can we help share the message if there's somebody who has a need or has materials that they would like to kind of provide or provide support to FODAC, what do you want people to know on how to reach you all?
Absolutely. So you could find us at our website, FODAC.org. There's the phone numbers and all the information of our programs and how we serve in Savannah. That is 912-667-1552. So you could call us directly at that number
Mhm.
to to find out, hey, do we have a certain item there in stock? Can we help? We will hold it. We will tag it. We'll make an appointment for someone to come pick that up there. We're thankful for the partnership at the Goodwill headquarters to help allow folks in the lobby to see our staff and see if we can meet those needs. But yeah, that's how people can engage with us and just call us and see if we have what you're looking for. And what we do from Atlanta is backfill when we run out of certain product lines down there. We're just going to bring more of it and help stock the warehouse with things that are not picked up locally or that we don't have yet picked up locally. So we're definitely there to meet as many needs as possible for people. And really, there's no financial qualification. We have just a request form that we kind of understand what your challenges are with getting access
Yeah.
to this equipment. We ask for a $25 registration fee, one time, lifetime. And it's just a way people can actually be a part of, get something they're receiving.
Mhm.
But anything that's donated to us after that $25 is no cost to that person. So there is no cost to any of the equipment.
Mhm.
There's just a request for that registration kind of fee to get you in the database, understand your needs and who you are,
Yeah.
and then that's how easy it is.
The power of partnerships really is
Uh,
evident, as you kind of look around. It takes all of us working together. Well,
yes,
Chris,
yes.
one of the things that we like to ask when we have people on is what gets you coming back day after day on the good days, the bad days? What is it that drives you, as your long-term history with FODAC? What is it that excites you about what you do?
People ask how I got into this sometimes, and it's really, a family that I was raised with had a son with a disability who became my best friend, and that relationship with him and his family, and seeing how they had to navigate all the driving and barriers with ramps, that really has motivated me to help this community. And it really changed my life when he passed away when I was a teenager, and it kind of changed my life. And so I've kind of always had a passion for helping people with all these barriers they have in life, whether it's their house, their car, their equipment they need to living life to the fullest. But it really only takes like 3 or 4 experiences
Yeah.
of people that are just amazing that we've helped along the way. I mean, there's a veteran's wife down there in Savannah who got equipment from us so she could complete her on the job training.
Oh,
There's those
yeah.
stories of the emergency managers down there getting that equipment. These kind of things just fuel us all year long because we know how important we are. There's no other resource like ours out there. We're supporting small programs of reuse around the
Yeah.
state, but we're the biggest in the country in what we do. And so we really have a lot to leverage and share. And that's what, motivates us. The opportunities that we've been given in partnerships, we want to maximize those in our own
Mhm.
state before, we go anywhere else around the country.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you can tell your heart and passion for the people that you serve.
One more question for you, Chris.
Sure.
As you mentioned, you had some exposure to Goodwill in different areas before
Mhm.
approaching us here at Goodwill Southeast Georgia. Would you say what's maybe something that you feel like you've learned about Goodwill either along the way
Mhm.
or since
Yeah.
partnering with us, maybe that you didn't know
Yeah.
before?
Yeah, I love Goodwill because I mean, ever since we've started having those North Georgia partnerships and then learning about Virginia, I know every Goodwill has their own kind of identity and what they want to do as far as serving unmet needs in a community. And I know y'all do a huge amount down there, and so we have a lot of similar symbiotic efforts that we're doing in that area. But yeah, I've always been going to those conferences of Goodwill and learning about the Southeast ones and how many different, I mean, levels of professional work that is done through the Goodwill is just extraordinary. And we're grateful to be a partner with y'all. You know, you're a very high level organization that's meeting huge needs in the community. And so we have our narrow niche that we're just proud to be tucked away as a part of what you're doing down there.
So, well, we're grateful for the opportunity to kind of expand services for everyone. So we're grateful to have you as a partner.
Yes, grateful for you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Great information, Chris. We're really
Yeah.
looking forward to helping folks learn more about what you guys do here. And we just want to say thanks again so much for joining us on the Good News Pod today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.